Alright, coming back for round 2 here, looking at the literature review. I changed at the top, you'll see, don't center anything but the title. Everything else is going to be justified to the right side, left side. Don't know why that's in italics. Literature review, article 1, all in bold. So you have Jeff Fagan and Garth Davies, just use the last names. You've got his name is Davies with an S. It should be, I need to correct that on my copy. I'll send you new edits. Davies is going to be, because your name ends with an S and it's possessive of Davies, singular, just apostrophe, S apostrophe S. A lot of people don't know that rule, but I'm pretty sure that's the rule. Anyway, little attention to detail thing is you have the title in quotes, which is correct, and then Fordham Urban Law Journal, which is fine. It's in italics. A lot of people miss that, but you don't have a comma after the name of the article and then after the date. It should have commas. It should be comma separated. Also, that comma always goes inside the quotation marks. A lot of students seem to not realize that. So because this literature review came in separate from the introduction, I guess I was sort of missing the fact you'd already mentioned broken windows, so you have it italicized. Again, the first time you mentioned, italicize it. Also, if you've been capitalizing it, keep capitalizing it. If not, not. But just make one decision and stay with it. For that particular term, I don't care whether it's capitalized or not. I would go with whatever the majority of your authors did with it. If they're calling it broken windows with a capital B and a capital W, do that. Otherwise, go lowercase. You bring in order maintenance policing, which is fine, and you say implemented in the 5 boroughs of New York City. That's just redundant. Just call it New York City. The reasoning behind broken windows policing, you say, particularly in urban areas, is that aggressively enforcing minor laws will signal to me a lack of tolerance for any violation of the law. That is what is believed. You get into detail a bit later on explaining why that doesn't quite work. You then also have in your literature review, you say it's believed. It's with an apostrophe, which is correct for what you're trying to say. That means it is, not possessive it's, as again, many people don't get that. But you don't want to use contractions in this kind of writing, in any kind of academic writing. And so I would say, yeah, you want to change that. And I did change it, so it wasn't even necessary to use it is there. The thing is, if your whole project is about broken windows, you should move the explanation of what broken windows is up into the introduction and just make sure it sits up there. It should kick off the article, not come up in the first literature review item. So I'll let you go back and figure out where you want to bring that definition in, but definitely bring in something definitional like that as early as possible. So then we have Fagan and Davies from now on F&D, very good. Found that OMP was mainly implemented in impoverished neighborhoods by stopping and frisking minority individuals to search for contraband weapons. And you need a site there. I bring in a new paragraph here. You talk about the evidence collected and analyzed by the authors. I just say in their findings, F&D report significant increase. And so then I'm dropping down a little bit to the start of your next paragraph because you bring in numbers there. Increase in misdemeanor arrests of adults in New York City rising from, and then you have various numbers. Anytime you have numbers like that, you're going to want to put in a citation. Citations are just a red flag that numbers, I'm sorry, just a citation that you're going to need a citation. Where there are numbers, there's got to be a cite. I then say, consequently, a large portion of the prosecutions that carried forward were less sustainable. That was your term there, sustainable. I'm not quite sure what you mean by due to their triviality. That language doesn't make much sense to me. I've left it in. You can straighten that out. if there's something in the article that explains what it does or doesn't make a prosecution sustainable, you can use that. Otherwise, I would just clean that language up. Cases that carry forward were not prosecutable. And you have here, and this must be something that you, yeah, it's from your writing. Okay, so I moved up the thing about in 1998. Although in the courts dismissed more than 1,400 completed cases, an increase of 60% when compared to case dismissal in 1993. Not surprisingly, majority of dismissed cases came from predominantly minority neighborhoods, focused OMP effort, and a citation, which is good. So I'm moving things around a little bit. You can keep going with that. You can stick with what I've put in. It's up to you. I'm trying to make it flow better and have the sequence of ideas be logical. Again, the more planning you do ahead and the more outlining you do ahead and the more you have an idea that I'm going to start, these article summaries are short, really. A lot of them are 3 paragraphs long. You're going to want to have in the first paragraph what the article setup was, what the idea behind it was, what the methods were. Methods can lapse into a second paragraph, really. So what the idea behind the article was, first paragraph, second paragraph, what the methods were, third paragraph, what they found. That's the usual winning formula here. So you start off your third paragraph on the second page of your introduction saying additionally. Additionally is considered clunky now. Preferable is in addition. F and D, give evidence. I say they offer evidence. The narrows for African American population was less than 10%. African Americans were 2.17 times more likely to be stopped for weapons offenses. That's fine. Doesn't need a cite though, again, because numbers mean cites. You also have a thing here that says, compared to the rest of the same crime, Caucasians were 0.97 times more likely. If you're arrested for the same crime. I presume you took that from what they wrote. If I multiply something by 0.97, I get back almost exactly the thing. Is it 1.97 times more likely? Almost twice as likely? I had a question about that. I didn't put it in my notes to you. Look into that. Then you say, police also overstepped. I'm fine with that. I think I left much of the rest of the paragraph pretty much intact, except at the end. I think what I want to change on this now is that last sentence. You've got the Terry. You refer to Terry. So when you have something, when you have a mention of a court case, you have to footnote a citation on that. You were right to italicize it. A lot of people miss that. Also, checking time. All right, running out of time here. Hopefully get to the end of the first article here. I would call Terry a landmark case. That's actually the term that scholars would use for it. Make sure to refer to these Supreme Court. These are opinions. Once the court, if it's before the court, that's a different matter. Once the court has written on it, it becomes an opinion. Yeah. So, in any event, and then lastly, evidence collected by the authors concludes Dobbin for strategy. So this probably came from higher up. I think I moved something down here, thinking it made more sense. Yeah, this was the end of your first paragraph, so I moved it down pretty much wholesale. And I will say the last line seems redundant for much of what preceded it. And that's my alarm. So I'm through to starting Article 2 here, and I'll do that on a separate video again because these things get very cumbersome to upload. I've been trying to upload your first video now for an hour. It's still grinding, still not getting anywhere. So we'll see what happens.